And we are live. You already know who it is. My name is Mike Kyle, aka the Fantasy Vulture. I have over a decade worth of fantasy football experience and have continuously competed for fantasy championships over the course of the past 6 seasons. Let's make it 7 in 2020. But enough of me. I'm here for you. On today's episode of the FB Show, we are going to continue our Week 3 game recaps, breaking down every single Week 3 matchup, all through the lens of fantasy football. Up next, the Washington football team versus the Cleveland Browns. If you are excited for this game recap, be sure to hit that like button down below like an open receiver downfield. Also smash that subscribe button like a power running back up the middle so you never miss a video from me. Last but not least, you can follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. We aren't going to do highlights this week, and the reason for that specifically is because I hated only doing 70 to 80% of the games every single week. And just missing out on that 20% where I felt like there was a lot of great fantasy action and things to talk about really just bummed me out, and it made me feel like I wasn't doing enough or I wasn't doing my job properly trying to be a fantasy football analyst. You know, I can't continuously miss out on 20% of the game where things are happening. We got waiver wire pickups to talk about and just things of that nature. So I decided we're only going to focus on box scores this week. And with that being said, let's jump right in, shall we? So let's talk Washington versus Cleveland. The Browns defeated Washington by a final score of 34-20. Let's start off with the Washington football team. Dwayne Haskins, 21 completions, 37 attempts, 224 yards, and 2 touchdowns as well as a turnover. Antonio Gibson, the breakout is here. 9 carries, 49 yards, 3 receptions for 11 yards, and a touchdown. I'll talk more about him in just a little bit. Terry Mclaurin, wide receiver for Washington, 4 receptions, 8 targets for 83 yards. And Dontrell Inman, the surprise player of the game, 3 receptions for 38 yards and 2 touchdowns. Moving over to the Browns, Baker Mayfield had himself a fine game. 16 completions on 23 attempts for 156 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. However, the big story here was the ground game once again for the Browns. Nick Chubb, 19 carries, 108 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Kareem Hunt, the counterpart in that backfield, 16 carries for 46 yards, 2 receptions for 18 yards, and a touchdown as well. And of course, we talk about the big name on the outside, Odell Beckham, 4 receptions for 59 yards. Game notes here, just things that I thought were important to note. This is Antonio Gibson's season. We are in the middle of it. We saw what happened last week with him. I want to pull up the numbers just one more time, just to have it offhand. Right, so last week, Antonio Gibson had played 64% of snaps. He had 13 carries. This week, he was back down to 41, but he had 9 carries, and he also looked the best. Had the highest yards per carry with all of the Washington people, with all the Washington backfield. But I do want to go over the snap count just one more time, and I really think that game script was dependent on this. And J.D. McKissic had 34 snaps, Antonio Gibson 25, and Peyton Barber had 7. So this is the second week in a row where Peyton Barber has been relevant, and J.D. McKissic has really been the only competition for Gibson in the backfield. But Gibson's gotten it done the past 2 weeks, scoring twice, but then also doing well on the ground as well in the rushing attack. The only thing that still really bothers me is that they aren't utilizing him in the pass catching game the way I would like. They can throw him in the slot. They can use him out of the backfield as a pass catcher. But they are rolling with J.D. McKissic in that way. But I've been saying that I wanted to see Antonio Gibson do it for multiple weeks. And even though he is only seeing 40% of the snaps, at least as far as this week goes, last week obviously it was 64 like I mentioned, I'm becoming more and more comfortable with you starting Gibson if you have to, right? Obviously, it's not the levels that we want, but I think it's going to get there. And I think the clear indication is that is the plan, right? Just seeing his usage, the involvement that he's had, as well as what he's been producing on the ground. Antonio Gibson is the best running back on this team, and I think it is only just a matter of time until he solidifies himself as such. But back-to-back weeks now where he has gotten in the end zone, back-to-back weeks where he scored double-digit fantasy points in half-point formats, Antonio Gibson's season is here. I'm really excited for his outlook moving forward. My game note for the Browns, and this is just kind of like, this is literally just going to be how the Browns operate throughout the rest of the season, and that is they are going to run the ball down their opponent's throat. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt combined, let's do quick math here, combined for 35 carries. Yes, they combined for 35 carries, I mean, Baker Mayfield only threw the ball 23 times. And with that, Odell Beckham is not going to see a high target usage, and neither is Jarvis. So those two players combined only had 10 targets, and that's almost inexcusable outside of the fact that the way that this offense is set up is that to be so run heavy, right? So what you do with Odell and what you do with Jarvis, honestly, I'm trying to move both at this point. I don't know what the price for Odell would be in order for you to feel like that you're getting great value back in return. I'm looking to flip Jarvis for maybe another. I'm pretty much looking to flip Jarvis for a low end wide receiver 3 at this point, but a wide receiver 3 with upside. So I'm gonna try and think of a name that comes to mind here. Like, who do you ship Jarvis for right now? What's a good name? Jarvis for who? Oh, I'm gonna. Well, I think Jarvis for Russell Gage is interesting. I think Jarvis for Corey Davis is interesting. I think Jarvis for N'Keal Harry is interesting. So, like, those are 3 names that kind of come to mind that I'd be willing to trade Jarvis for. I feel like those are all pretty reasonable. In all honesty, if somebody wants to try and buy low on Jarvis Landry, those are guys who I would target if you're looking to sell. As far as Odell, it's a little bit trickier because the talent is there, just for the opportunity isn't. I'm looking to trade Odell. Who's another like struggling wide receiver? Who can you trade Odell for? This is interesting. Do you trade Odell for Cooper Kupp? Do you trade Odell for Devontae Parker? I think that's an interesting trade, I think. Devontae Parker for Odell, just because we know what Parker's going to do week in and week out with Fitzpatrick. He's going to get the targets. He's going to get the opportunity. He's going to get the red zone looks. He's going to get the yards downfield. That's actually a deal that I actually really like off the top of my head. So those are, like, I think at this point you have to try and sell both. There's no sense in trying to keep both of them on your roster because, simply put, this Browns offense does not revolve around the pass game and does not utilize their pass catching weapons to their fullest ability. And with that being said, you can absolutely drop Austin Hooper. You should have dropped him by now. He's absolutely useless for you in this offense. Is there anything else here with Washington that I want to talk about? Logan Thomas, again, for the 3rd straight week, has had 7+ targets. He only caught 4 of them for 31 yards. Just a name, again, to keep in mind, because bye weeks are going to start happening, and you're probably going to need a spot start for your tight end position. Logan Thomas is the name to keep in mind, simply just because the volume of targets is there. This is a team that does struggle to score, but they do find their way to get into the end zone into the red zone rather a few times every single week, and so you are banking on that and then a touchdown opportunity as well. But we do look for target volume when looking at the tight end position, and Logan Thomas is absolutely getting that. So that's going to do it for my Washington versus Cleveland Browns Week 3 game recap. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. We try to do this every single week for every single NFL game, so you can always hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video from me. Also, hit that like button if you enjoyed. Follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, people come and go, but fantasy championships are forever, and I will see you in the next video.